My name is Eileen Diskin, and I'm a fourth-year PhD student here at Trinity. Although I've actually been here since 2001. I started as an undergraduate. You might hear in my voice that I sound American. I moved over from Pittsburgh when I was 18, and I've been here ever since, so about 12 years now. Oh yeah, so you might have noticed that I'm standing here holding a pink inflatable flamingo, and you might be wondering why. Well, the reason is that this guy is actually the topic of my PhD. Now, not this guy specifically, I actually work with real live wild flamingos that live in southern Europe, in Spain, France, and Italy. And 2 years ago now, I went out and took samples from them, bacterial samples. I took them from what we like to call the business end, which is back here. And those are the samples that I've been working with in the lab ever since then, ever since my lovely fieldwork in the Mediterranean. So I've been looking at the bacteria to see if they're resistant to any antibiotics. So people might have heard of MRSA and different bacteria that are resistant that you might get in a hospital. And it turns out that a lot of those bacteria that are resistant to antibiotics are also found in nature. So in lakes, estuaries, the kinds of places where guys like this live. One of the first things I do when I get in is read articles. Not necessarily scientific articles. A lot of things I read are just news articles because I think a lot of the times things that you read in the news might be important for research, so I like to kind of know what's going on. So one of my favorite things about being a researcher is actually sharing my research with people, and not only people who work in the university or who are interested in the very specific research I'm doing, but I like finding ways of making the research that I do interesting to people outside of the university. So why somebody walking down the street might care about what I'm doing or my research group is doing. Well, one of the ways that I did recently was a group of friends and I came up with this idea of putting fun facts about biodiversity onto beer mats. And we tried to do it in a way that linked the pint in somebody's hand to the biodiversity and our research on why that's important. So as an example, it takes 4 bees to pollinate the apples that go into 1 pint of cider. And that's something that people sitting in the pub might not otherwise know, but that's actually an output of a research institute like Trinity. Yeah, and we tried to do it in a really fun and engaging way. We don't want to be preaching to people about why biodiversity is really important and telling people to go out and hug a tree, but just kind of trying to find a way that people can connect with it. I think a good researcher needs to be passionate about what they're studying. For example, I am into a 4-year PhD now, and I think you really need to be interested in it because otherwise it's just going to be a horrible job going in every day to do your work. I happen to be very lucky. I love what I'm studying, so it's actually really fun, and I think that sort of passion about the research is really important. I think one of the things that's really cool about research is that although I'm a scientist, I'm in this university where there's people studying history, people studying English, people studying geography, and I think one of the great things about the university is being able to interact with these people and come up with really innovative and maybe creative solutions to some of the grand challenges that we're facing.
I don't even really care.
Catherine, what kind of question is that on a Friday afternoon?
I know.